This is the Book Legion Podcast, where we review thought-provoking books to give our Legionnaires the knowledge they need to dominate the next level of their life.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me this week on the Book Legion. This is your host, Ty, and this week I'm going to be reviewing the book Relentless by Tim Grover. So the first thing I want to do is cover who Tim Grover is exactly. I did do a book review on his new book, Winning. Relentless is his older book that he put out in 2011, 2012. I read it a few years ago. I just reread it because it was one of those books that when I read it, it made me want to turn into this savage, this different type of beast. So I thought it was a good book to start the year with. But let's talk about who Tim Grover is. Tim Grover is the founder and CEO of Attack Athletics, but he's most well known for being Michael Jordan's personal trainer. So back in the late 80s, Grover went and got like a kinesiology degree, was working at a gym. He knew that he had a love and passion for basketball. He actually ended up playing in college, and so he wanted to be a trainer in the NBA. That was always his dream. That was always his goal. And so he wrote all the Chicago Bulls in the late 80s a letter basically offering to give his services. What he was trying to do was, if you remember basketball players back in the 80s and 90s and 70s before then, always very lean. Everything was about cardio. Not a lot of things were about strength and muscle mixed with cardio. And so he had a different type of approach. Anyway, he did a handwritten letter to all the Bulls players, except for Michael Jordan. He didn't write Michael Jordan because he's the best player in the world. What would he want with a young trainer who hasn't proven himself? Sure enough, none of the players responded except for one. And I guess some other players on the Bulls had told MJ about the letter they had gotten from Grover, and he was interested. And so actually reached out, and they had a meeting, and he ended up hiring Tim Grover, and they worked together for the rest of Jordan's career. He also became Kobe Bryant's trainer and Dwayne Wade, and he'd worked with Charles Barkley. So he ended up working with the biggest superstars in basketball in the world, and now has gone on and works with people, top college athletes, baseball players, football players, but really has a special niche in basketball because there's so many quick twitch movements and really helps with recovery and whatnot. And that's what Attack Athletics does, is a training but also a rehab type facility as well for players that get seriously hurt. So that's where Grover kind of got his name. And then as he got older, he put out this book of, you spend 20 years with MJ and Kobe and Dwayne Wade, like that Mamba mentality, the MJ mentality. I mean, MJ is probably going to be the most competitive person to ever play sports ever, right? Which was what made him great. And so Grover put all that in a book, and it was the book Relentless. And so the premise of the book is he talks about three different types of people. So the three different types of people are either a cooler, a closer, or a cleaner. And so in that type of order, where a cooler is just like a role player, they're average, they never really want to be great, or a closer is someone who can be really great at what they do, but they're not going to be the greatest, right? They don't have the mentality to be the greatest. They're the ones that will take the game-winning shot, and then they want all the fame and victory that comes along with making it, but they also don't want to take the criticism if they miss. Where a cleaner is like an MJ or a Kobe. Like, they hit a game-winning shot and they go back to work the next day, and there's no time for celebration because it's to them, they're just doing their job. And so the whole premise of the book is like, what does it take to become a cleaner, right? To have that elite mentality of, I'm going after to be the greatest at what I do, and I will do it without exception, without apology, and without anything standing in my way. And that's really what it takes to be the greatest at anything. So that's what the whole premise of the book is really explaining how do you get to that cleaner mentality, and what is the difference between a cooler and a closer, and how do you start to reshape your mind to get to a cleaner type mentality, or like Kobe's Mamba mentality. So I'm going to talk about my three favorite sections of the book. I'm not going to talk about my three favorite chapters like I normally do. I just wanted to kind of pick, because there's so many good, every page has got a nugget on it. So, and there's 200 and about 40 pages in the book. Let me see, 233. So, there's tons of information. So I just want to go over my top three takeaways, and then I'll let you guys know where you can pick up the book. So the first quote I want to read you is on page 35. You can't commit to excellence until your mind is ready to take you there. Teach the mind to train the body. Physical dominance can make you great. Mental dominance is what ultimately makes you unstoppable. And the reason why I really wanted to cover this quote is because so many of us we don't put in the work to change our mental mindset. And so because of that, we continue to have limitations in our life. We continue to have scarcity mindset. We continue to let our fear override our wants and our desires that would fulfill us. And so he really talks about how do you start to develop a mindset that would make you unstoppable, the best of what you do, and what does that take. And I want to point this out because for me, I think it's really easy that if you start with the body, because the body is something you can easily control, right? The mind is much harder to control than the body. And this is why I think that physical fitness is so important. Like I just got back from the gym about 45 minutes ago. Me and my wife went and did an hour and a half workout. And our kids go to the daycare. She went and did some plyometrics. I did 2 different types of cardio. And then we took my oldest son into the basketball gym and played some basketball. So, for me, I started with my body when I realized that I had a problem up here with the scarcity mindset. I had limiting belief systems. I grew up relatively poor, and so it was restricting me from making money. And once I got clear that that's what was happening, I had to start to change my self-talk. The first thing that I knew I could control was my body, to push my body to limits that were uncomfortable as opposed to my mind. I think that he talks about you can have physical dominance, and so I think that your body is something you can control easily to push to limits you're uncomfortable. And once you start to get that type of programming routine down of pushing yourself every day, doing something that's hard, you can start to rewire your mind to look at taking that job, going back to night school, getting that degree you've always wanted to get. You can start to rewire your mind a lot different. And once you start to rewire your mind to only accept excellence, you do start to become unstoppable. Because once you get to that next level, and that next level, it's not a huge varying degree of people that are quote unquote average, right? It's really that we've all become really comatose and complacent with our lives. And the people that are the 1%ers, right? Those are the people that have taken their mental ability to the next level. Charlie Munger talks about, if you're not familiar with Charlie Munger is Warren Buffett's partner. They've been partner for 50, 60 years. And Charlie Munger talks about to become a millionaire, you have to develop the characteristics of a millionaire, right? You can't just make $1 million having a $40,000 a year mindset. And so what does that take? You have to start to rewire your mind. So that's what I just really wanted to put out there as my big takeaway. It's always constantly conditioning your mind to get to the next level, to be able to push you to do things that are uncomfortable. But the best way to start to get into an uncomfortable zone is to do it through your body. And here's a second quote I want to read you guys, the second part. It's on page 40. So again, there's just all kinds of little nuggets almost every page. There's only 5 pages later. Let me read it here. Here's the truth. No trainer or coach or expert can make you good or great or unstoppable if you're not going to do the work. If you are waiting for someone to make it happen for you. And I love this because I feel like this happens a lot, and I've seen this a ton over my career in business. Is it like people are waiting for someone to come tap them on the shoulder, for someone to recognize or hoping to recognize that person's greatness and pull it out of them. And people just wait year after year after year, like waiting for someone to give them that magic saying, that magic bullet, that magic morning routine that's going to just change their lives, as opposed to just fucking showing up and doing the work every day and realizing that nobody is coming to save you. This life is all on you, right? You are responsible for the quality of your life. And once you take ownership that I am the one that is responsible for the quality of my life, I am the one responsible for the decisions I make daily, then you have the complete power to change it. And so that's, something that it took me a long time to realize, because I was that person, like when I thought about for 10 years starting my own business. And I don't know if I was just waiting for someone to say, hey, Ty, you should start this business, or hey, Ty, let's start this business together, or whatever it was. And I just kind of, I had to wake up one day and be like, shit, like no one's going to make this happen for me. I got to just do it myself. I got to learn the skills I don't know. Because a lot of us go, well, I don't have the skill set. I don't have the money. I don't have the time, right? We make all these excuses. And really, to me, that's just, you don't want it bad enough. You're not willing to do the work. And once I powered through and I learned the skills as I went along, I made mistakes. I got frustrated, but I kept going. In that first business, I ended up selling and making a pretty good profit, right? And I'm stoked because now I learned all these different skills that I could apply in other aspects of my life. but I had to go do the work every day, and I had to do it myself. Nobody came and helped me. No one motivated me. No one told me to start the business, right? Then I could reach out to mentors and ask advice and make different types of relationships, and right, all that makes sense, but that's all part of the growth process of getting uncomfortable, finding mentors, asking people for help. Like going out and finding those people that you can bring into your business that can help facilitate to grow your business. But no one's going to inevitably help you start to lose the weight, help you go out and find the perfect spouse, help you start the business, help you get the promotion. That's going to be all on you. So you got to show up and do the work every single day. And then the last little quote I want to read you guys is on page 211. Trying is an open invitation to failure. Just another way of saying, if I fail, it's not my fight. It's not my fault. I tried. You tried your best, or did you do your best? Huge difference. Well, I tried. Okay, well, now tell me what you did. Do or you don't do. And so this kind of just reminds me of that whole thing that Yoda said, right? And going back to Star Wars, is that there is no such thing as try. There's only can or cannot. And that's basically what Grover is saying, is that you don't try to do your best. You do your best, right? You do your best. And if you do your best and you fail, then you did your best, right? But if you're always just saying, well, I tried to kind of do it, it's just kind of like, well, I tried to make a website, but I couldn't figure it out. No, it's either you did make a website or you didn't make a website. You either started a business or you didn't start a business, right? You either failed in business or you succeeded in business. There's no, I tried to do well in business. And so I think that once you get clear that there is no trying, you did it or you didn't, period, then it allows you to reframe your mind in a way that goes, well, I need to commit to excellence. I need to commit to being unstoppable, to know that I'm giving 120%. Because if you just try and you're going to be able to validate that excuse, well, I tried really hard. Well, did you? And it's a different type of mindset. Michael Jordan didn't try to be the best basketball player in the world. Kobe Bryant didn't try to make the NBA out of high school, right? They did or they didn't. Michael Jordan was either going to be a champion or he wasn't a champion. And so he was going to commit to excellence, to being unstoppable, to doing whatever he had to do to become a champion. Huge difference between can and cannot, right? Do or don't. And so I just love that piece, because I think more people need to hear that. We don't give your trying counts for shit in life, okay? You either commit to being the best version of yourself or you don't. And then if you don't, then you have to live with the consequences of untapped potential within yourself. And I think that's what the big part of the book is really all about, the difference between a cooler, a closer, and a cleaner. The cleaners are obsessed with maxing out on their God-given potential and seeing how far they can push themselves. Where closers, they like the idea of that, but they're not willing to commit. And coolers are not even in the fucking game. They're not doing anything. They're wasting their talents, and essentially they're really wasting their life. So I highly recommend the book Relentless by Tim Grover. So check out his new book, Winning. It's one of the first episodes I did, one of the first 5 episodes, if you want to scroll back and listen to the book review on that as well. I buy both the books and read Relentless first, because it Winning piggybacks off of it pretty well with some of the same themes, but kind of takes it to the next level with the different type of, with the same type of mentality to the next level. And it talks a lot about his relationship with Kobe Bryant, since he unfortunately had passed away. So I'm a huge proponent. I've seen him speak live as well. A phenomenal speaker. If you get a chance to go see him, look him up on YouTube. He's been, on some podcasts. He did a great podcast with Ed Milet. I want to say right around the time the book came out last year, February, March, some of that time frame. So maybe go check that one out as well. And follow him on Instagram. He's not a super social guy. He's pretty private, but he does post it pretty frequently. So I will post a link to the book Relentless in the show notes below. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast on any one of the 50 platforms this podcast is on, scroll right down to the show notes and it'll be a link that says buy the book here, and you can pick it up for about $10. So thanks guys so much for listening. If you guys haven't done so, please subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube channel. It would mean a lot to me. I hope you guys are all enjoying a happy new year, happy 2022, and I look forward to bringing you more great books this year. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.